Canada's built on immigration.
We all deal with people from every part of the planet every day.
There's jobs that immigrants do that Canadians don't want to do.
If you're immigrating into Canada and you become a Canadian citizen, technically you're not taking away jobs from Canadians, you're still Canadian.
Immigrants also bring expertise and experiences to our country, which helps make us one of the best countries in the world.
My parents immigrated here from China and Vietnam.
I myself immigrated from Africa.
Coming from Haiti, I thank God that my parents were hard workers.
Canada is a country of immigrants. And today, more than ever, immigration is a hot topic in the media and on the streets. Those of us who work on the front lines know that policy isn't made in a vacuum. It's constrained by changing government priorities and public opinion.
We're with the Canadian Bar Association, and we believe that immigration is an important topic of conversation that all Canadians should be a part of. So we're here interviewing Canadians on the street to find out how immigration affects them.
And are we picking the right kinds of immigrants?
I think we're often seen as a country of great humanitarianism and being open, and I think that with that then comes people who are needier. To close down the doors just because people don't come with the right kind of qualifications narrows who we are and who we might become as well.
Well, the work experience, that's a biggie. For me, it was easy because I did my MS here, my Master's of Computer Science, but I know friends who've come here and they have exceptional work experience back home, but when they get here, they end up doing, jobs that are not for them. Like they end up doing, janitorial jobs or something like that. But on the government side, they really have their skills matrix and everything. They get the people in with your level of education and qualification, but when people get in, they find it hard to get into, good work and good companies.
What do you think was the hardest thing for your families when they arrived here?
The hardest thing for sure was trying to first get used to the culture here, because the culture is different. But the good thing about Canada is that it's very multicultural, so that helps. And I think always one of the big issues is finding work. So I think that was probably one of the most difficult things they had to overcome, finding work.
My father is, where we lived, he was a doctor, and my mother was a biology high school teacher. But ever since we came here, my parents never really worked those jobs because it's very difficult to get the qualification degree to work those kind of jobs. So, seeing my parents work long hours, sometimes night shifts, it was kind of difficult to see them go through that phase. They suffered a lot for us, to be here. They sacrificed a lot for us to be here. So, I appreciate them for that too.
I actually need people with Canadian experience. I'm an architect, I work in project management, and I actually need that local experience. I work for an American company, and we're a relatively recent transplant here. I'm Canadian, I've worked my entire career here, and I know what we need. And that's not to say that we couldn't use experience gained elsewhere, but it's not so much as of a stigma as it is a choice you have to make when you hire.
My profession is a musician, so for me, bringing in immigrants can be bothersome because it's already a tough field to be in as a Canadian, and adding more people trying to get to the same jobs is pretty tough. But I know certain fields that are lacking employment for sure. Like, it makes complete logical sense to me. Well, ideally you want people with education, and especially if they come here for college or university and have already pumped a lot of money into the system, then I have no problem if they want to stay and use that same education. And if people are coming from countries that aren't so lucky or in a difficult situation, I have no problem with them coming too. It's the ones that that are borderline are going to help the country develop. That's the one. And I'm not a lawyer. I'm not experienced. So I don't know who's what and what. But definitely, if they have an educational background or a definite need, absolutely.
Well, both my parents are actually immigrants, and a lot of my extended family, my grandparents as well.
Did they have trouble finding work?
Good targets. I would say probably not at that time, considering they went into manual labor. I know a lot of them worked at a shoe factory, so I don't think they would have that trouble back in those times. I'm not sure about now. Probably it would be tougher now. I know personally people have had trouble coming over recently, family, friends, but they had the opportunities. I guess they didn't seek out the proper help and do it the right way, but I think if you do it the right way, there's still opportunities.
Immigration is kind of like a source of investment from other outside countries. They're investing in Canada basically, but at the same time, we live in this nice place because we don't have these overpopulation problems and such.
It's probably good. There's a lot of empty space in Canada.
Do you think that immigrants create jobs or take jobs away from Canadians?
Both. I am sure that there's jobs that immigrants do that Canadians don't want to do, but I mean, immigrants are Canadians once they're here anyway, so.
I find Canada different than most countries in that it's not a melting pot. Everyone is still, you're entitled to your culture, your traditions, your language, but I feel like I hope we embrace that and nourish that instead of trying to make it and work with it dynamically instead of trying to make it all one, or but at the same time respecting the values and the systems that are Canadian, that are true Canadian. So it's a balancing act, and I hope that people are aware of that.
I know friends and family that immigrated different places, and if they still feel like they're Haitians living in the country. Since the day my parents came to Canada, they're Canadians.